So yeah, let's go into our program here. We could actually create like a separate class that handles our console input and stuff like that, but let's just keep it really simple. Let's make the console say welcome to the speed run web service client, then write another line, something like this, then write an empty line, and let's actually encapsulate that in a different method like this and call it print welcome message. I just like to tidy up my code a bit. Okay. We could actually introduce a constant for that, but let's not do that. Or we could even put that in a resource file and pull it from there according to the current UI culture or something like that. But let's keep it simple. Print the welcome message. Bloop, there we go. And now let's create an instance of our speedrun service accessor. Let's just simply call it accessor. And then let's say make it say something like that. That's actually a lie, it's not connecting now. Let's just say retrieving speedrun data from web service, and then actually make it do that by calling the get speedrun data method and assign it to a local variable of type speedrun fetch result. Let's call it fetch result. And now we can check the properties of our fetch result here. If fetch result type equals success, then everything is fine. We can handle that. Else if it is internal error or well, actually we can just use an else block, right? I mean, what else could it be? If it's not successful, then it will be an error, of course. Okay, so then let's create a quick private static method here and call it handle success, and another one called handle error, and we're going to pass the result type here as an argument. Okay, so if it is successful, we're going to call the handle success. we're going to call the handle success method, and if an error occurred, we're going to call the handle error message and actually pass the result type, because in order to be able to distinguish between internal error and server error. Now let's do the error case first. Sorry about that. My neighbors seem to be celebrating something. I don't know. Okay, let's implement this handle error message, and let's keep it really simple. If result type is server error, then we're going to print a server error occurred, and otherwise we're going to print an unexpected error occurred. Then we're going to set the console color Actually, let's do that first. Set the console color. Actually, let's remember the current color. Then set it to red. And when we're done, we're going to set it back to its original value. But before that, we're also going to print the actual error message. Oh, let's just make it say error message and concatenate it with the, well, actual error message, but I forgot to pass it here. There we go. And when we call this handle error message, we're also going to, when we call this handle error method, we're going to actually pass the message as well. There we go. And in case of success, actually, let's not call this handle success. Let's just call this print speed run data. Get speed run data, success, print speed run data. And before that, we're going to print successfully retrieved fetch result count records. So we're going to tell the user how many results were retrieved from the via the service, and then we're going to go ahead and actually print the results, and we're going to have to pass them here. So we're going to introduce a new argument here. Whoops. And that's in a different namespace that we haven't included yet, so click here. There we go. And if someone was to pass null, we're going to throw an exception. That's not going to happen, but it's always good to cover every case. Whoops. We're going to pass an argument null exception, throw an argument null exception. and pass the name of the parameter here, since that is what the constructor expects. And that's it. Okay, so now that the speed runs are passed to this method, we can then iterate over them using the for each, using a for each loop. So for each speed run, sr in speed runs. Hey. Now, IntelliSense keeps failing me lately. I don't know what's wrong with that. Okay. So for each speed run in the speedruns collection, we're going to actually say write line. And unfortunately, well, there's ways we add. Well, this is an auto-generated class, right? And it's partial, so we could enhance it. We could make another partial class in the same namespace and then just override the toString method, something like that. We're not going to do that. We're simply here make it say, let's say, what do we want to print? First of all, game, which is sr.game dot name, and then maybe the name of the player using their gamer tag, like this, and the record date. Whoops. Oh. Actually, putting all of this in one line will look really messy, right? So let's think of something else. Let's say we're going to put a line between all of those speedrun records. Let's actually make it pass here, pass the results. So let's first simply make it right line. There we go. First output the game, which will be sr.game.name. Then in a new line, the player, and in another line, oh, it's not name, it's gamer tag. In another line, what's going on? We're going to print the record date, and since it's a date time, let's actually specify the format using the toString method. And let's say something like this. And next line, we'll be, well, what other properties do we have? Oh yeah, of course, the completion time. I think the completion time is more important than the record date. It keeps failing me. There we go. Okay. Actually, let's format this nicely. Since it's a time span type, it will just use its default implementation of toString, and I think that'll look weird. So let's do it like this. First of all, you know what? It was fine. Let's just look. Let's just have a look how it actually looks using the default toString implementation. And if it looks weird, we're going to change that. Okay. What else? Maybe the game's release date and the game's publisher. Yeah, let's do it like this. Oh, sorry. Published by. And remember, sometimes we don't have the release date. So only in cases where we do have the release date, meaning that this nullable datetime called release date has a value, and then we're going to actually concatenate as well the date. And we also call the toString method here and use the same format. Oh, of course. And has value is not a method, it's a property. Okay. Value toString. There we go. And now we can instead have that printed to the console like this. So game, so eventually it will say like game Mario published by Nintendo in blah blah blah. Let's only make it print out the year, right? The year should do. I don't want this to print too much information and clutter the screen. Okay, we can actually make this more compact like this. Okay. Now print out a line. Short line like this. And I think that's fine. Don't need anything more. I mean, this will now, of course, the last item in the list will also produce a line, which one could argue is not what we want, but we don't actually care about that. Okay, print speedrun data, and then print a new line, just an empty line, and yeah, and after that, actually let's print this empty line in any case. I think that's it. Is there anything else that we want to print on the screen? I don't think so. That's fine. Okay. So let's make sure our web service is running. Let's go into the other Visual Studio instance, and it already says running. And if we go into Chrome, everything's fine. So yeah, service is running. Our client data, our client application is done so far. So let's go ahead and, well, actually, to make it not run immediately, let's actually here prompt the user to press a key. Print welcome message, and then here console right line press any key to start. Then call read key, and then proceed with the stuff. Yeah, this should be fine. Let's start. Welcome to the Speedrun web service client. Press any key to start. I'm going ahead and press space. I'm going to go ahead and press J. Retrieving speedrun data from web service. Successfully retrieved 4 records. Game Super Mario World, published by Nintendo in 1990. Player Lucky Goodrich 90. Completion time. Oh, actually the completion, the way it's printed is fine. No dates, blah 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 blah, and that's it. Actually, let's change this here. Read key. I think there's a separate overload, right? Oh yeah, should have. Yeah. If you, as you may have noticed, when I pressed J, it actually printed that on the screen, which is not what I want. So if I pass through here for the intercept argument, it will not do that. And down here, I also want to pass through, even though it doesn't really make a difference because it's going to close down after that anyway. But let's just be thorough. Okay. Let's go ahead and start it up again. Welcome, press any key to start. Retrieving speedrun data from web service. It seems to be fine. I don't see anything wrong here. In this record here, it actually doesn't doesn't print out the year, which is exactly what we want, right? Because we don't know it. In the database, it's not available. So that's fine. Yeah, now I can press any key to exit. Now let's make sure that the error case is also handled properly. How can we achieve that? Well, one way would be to simply stop the service so that it's not available. So that would result in an internal error, right? Because it's not an error that occurred on the server side. The server is not even reachable, so how could it be a server error? So let's actually stop the debug session here, which will close down IIS Express, and now go back into the client application and have it and start it. Press any key. Retrieving speedrun data from web service. Successfully retrieved 0 records. Well, that's not what we want. We must have messed something up. Hold on. Let's go into our accessor. Let's actually put a breakpoint here so we can find out what's going on. Let's press a button. The client is created, and now it's caught an exception, and it sets it to internal error, which is exactly what we want. We abort the client and we return. That's fine. So if the result type is success, which is we probably forgot to set the result in the constructor of the here. Yes, I messed up. Why didn't you say something? Here, this assignment here does nothing. We assign the value. We assign the value of the property, its current value, to the property itself. So this does nothing. Of course, this needs to be a lowercase r, and because of that, it always had its default value, which is the first one in the list of values here, which is success. So that's the problem here. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you mess those things up. Okay, let's go back into our program, start it up, and now it should properly handle the error. Oh, let's remove the breakpoint actually. There we go. An unexpected error occurred, which is exactly what we want, because we said that if an internal error occurs, we want to make it say unexpected error. There's the error message. There was no endpoint listening at blah, 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 that could accept the message. This is often caused by an incorrect address or SOAP action. See an exception if present for more details. Okay, this is exactly what we want. Let's see if we can find a way to make it cause an internal a server error. Actually, that would only occur if something goes wrong during the application logic of our web service, but since there is nothing wrong with it, we can't really test that. A way to test that now would be simply to change our application logic in our service. So let's just try that real quick, just to prove that everything is working. Let's say in our service, right here, we have a try block, right? Let's just explicitly throw an exception here. Whoops. Oh no. Abandon all hope. Okay, now of course the compiler says that this code here is unreachable because an exception is thrown before that, but that's fine. The exception will then be caught by the try block and it will go in here and set the error to true. And yeah, that's exactly what we want. Let's start the debug session for the web service. And I didn't actually want to open the test client. No, sorry. I actually wanted to make it display the index website. There we go. Minimize it, so now it's running. Go back into the client, start it up, press any key, retrieving. A server error occurred. Oh no, abandon all hope. Perfect. Okay, so now let's remove that temporary change from our service again, because of course we don't want it to always throw an exception. And there we go. And restart it. Yeah. And now go back into client. Just start it up one more time. Retrieving. Successfully retrieved 4 records. Blah blah blah. Press any key. Everything is fine again. Okay, so now we have a working client. So we have achieved our goal. And I think this will be it for this video. I can't think of anything else that we could do in this session. Let me know if you liked this video and if you liked this approach of basically not having a script at all and just going ahead and creating something out of the blue, basically. Yeah, and if you'd like to see me enhance this even more, let me know. I'll probably do a follow-up video to this anyway, where I expand on this, where basically, like I said, include a couple more service operations where you can actually query for the data, stuff like that. Maybe introduce a few new database tables, maybe create like an actual, like a service operation where you can submit your own speedrun data, something like that. We'll think of something, but I will again not have it scripted. This is really just an off-the-cuff developing session, basically. It's very simple, and yeah. The main focus of this was to have some fun. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the time. I hope you learned something here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I usually respond rather quickly, even though my time schedule is kind of tight sometimes. But right now I was able to take the time to make this. Yeah, so let me know what you thought and have a very, very nice day.